Mate, I did not think I was going to make this today. This is Bali belly at its best, man. But the coming out in the heat, man, cooked me a wee bit. But we're here, man. We're here to tell another tale. And in another studio as well, man. This is like my fucking 6th podcast studio in like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, man. So
I just expected that you weren't going to turn up. I'd already decided on, right, I'll just go and record my own stuff.
I couldn't even, mate, see last night when Ailey messaged you, I couldn't even open my phone. Like I was cross-eyed. Like, but I thought I was one and done. I had it the first 2 weeks I was here, and it was just like an overnight thing, and then that was like, I wasn't sick that time, but it was just fever, man, sore body. But I think it was probably a combination of the being cooked a bit, man, for training and being in the heat as well, because no run seems to be an easy run here. Every run's a hard run here, man.
Mate, it's that's what I was saying to one of the lads. It's basically like altitude training. Like it can work in your advantage, because when I went to Vietnam, I was able to run a lot faster because it was cold, but also it's harder to hit them top speeds. So then it's like it works in your favor at times, but then it's also maybe limiting you in the sort of like the speed that you can run because of the heat and because of the humidity. But I think it's great. I think you just need to get out of your bed and run a bit earlier to avoid some of the.
I know we have been doing it. We've got out a few mornings where it's a bit cooler in the morning, man. But like, if you go out and you can't, we've been out the other morning. We went out and we were like 7 a.m. out running, man. It's just hard. See when you're working later.
Yeah.
Like see when you're, because we're doing like almost back shift right now. Like so, Monday, Tuesday are quite late days.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week is genuinely sort of like late-ish. So doing that sort of going to bed wild like a Mars bar, and then literally getting up in the morning is just hard. Like, and I'm a pure morning person as well. Like I do really value getting up early in the morning, man, but it does kick the arse out of me. But it gave me a lot of confidence seeing your half marathon. Like, because I was seeing obviously you know what run times are like, and I'll see your like easy run in Bali, like 5:14, and then you go and crank out a fucking 1:24 half marathon, and I'm like, aye, like this is definitely. But I keep getting wee glimpses of it, because as I said to you, like I was on the treadmill like last week, and then it was like cooler, the air conditioner in the gym wasn't busy, it was 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, I'm running really fast here, man. So I think it plays with your mind a lot, doesn't it, man? Like you've just been used to it though, because you've been out here for so long.
But it's still challenging, mate. And even them running sessions in the morning, there's a fine line between getting out on time and it actually not being too difficult. But if like even 7, I think it's too late. Like if I'm not out before 6:30, like you can really feel the difference. But it's challenging all the same. It's still very humid, and I have been doing a lot of the sessions on the treadmill recently, and I've came to start to enjoy them a bit more. But it's still fucking humid as in the gym. Like the aircon's not great, and I think it's still like you're still feeling the effects of that. But yeah, it sort of forces you to start your day and get up that early, because if you don't run in the morning, it's either a treadmill session or at sunset. But realistically, the traffic's usually wild there, and I think it's pretty difficult to run. So
it's like Bali's just not built for running.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just totally like, because it's funny, like because when I run here, like people notice it. Like people like see, because so many folk don't do it. So if you're running quite hard or running like in the heat, like folk are looking at you. Like when I was telling you about, I just started working with Darren, and he seen me in the gym, and I hadn't seen him in like a year, and he's like, I just seen this, like I came downstairs and I went, all right bro, how's it going? And he was like, mate, I thought that was you. He's like, and then he was talking about it in one of the calls that I was in, and he was saying like, I just seen this fucking jacked 6'2" guy running in the gym, and he's like, you don't see someone going for it in the gym. And I was like, I think because it's just you don't even see a lot of people here ripping it with their fitness. Like they do classes and stuff, but like I don't, from what I've seen in the gyms I've been into, like people are training hard, man, but like,
mate, everyone's pissing about in the gyms, let's be serious.
They are. They're like just fucking.
It's very rare. Well, I suppose there's a few gyms that are like, there's a massive like proper hardcore bodybuilding gym up towards like Broward direction, and
what's that called?
Bull Gym.
I thought
so
that was it. Yeah.
If you go in there, it's just apes and like the size of the fellas in there, and they're all training hard, grunting noises left, right, and centre. It's actually a really good gym. The kit's great, but there's no aircon, so they're always hot and sweaty. I used to train there. But every other gym, mate, it's few and far between that people are actually training, and it's I'm in wrong gym, like, and you went and seen it, and probably most gyms are the same, and the type of people that are here, like sometimes it can actually affect your training, because you're wanting to go in and do a hard session, and everyone around you, like you go into the sort of weights room and people are just sitting on the leg extension texting, there are people sitting on the hamstring curling, they're just fucking on the phone to someone while they're trying to do an exercise, and I'm like, this is fucking shite. But so just get the earphones in and sort of tip away. But I think most of the gyms here are like that, and that most people, they're going to the gym but they're not actually training. Do you know what I mean?
It's definitely groomed my ego, man. Like I've had like 5 people ask me what do I do. Like they're like, what do you do? Like you're like, what are you like? What do you do? Like just because you're pushing yourself and you're testing yourself, and like folk are that you stand out doing it when folk do it. I suppose that's always the case, isn't it? It's like in the temp, but like definitely in the UK, not everyone trains like that, but like I think it's probably because the weather's not as good. Like folk are, like I was saying, like why High Rocks is blown up so much, because it's almost kind of like, what else is there to do, man?
Get out of the house, get away from my wife.
Yeah, I know. So like folk are away grafting and the gym and putting all their energy and focus into that, man. But mate, what brought you on your travels? I know, like it's funny because we've now, that's the first time we've met.
Yeah, no,
we've been talking for like a year and a half, like because I think I seen you last time. We didn't really know each other at that point, and then my client friend Kieran was then out here. Then you were speaking to him, and then like he kind of pushed me in the direction to connect with you. So we've been talking, but like obviously, like I only know about you briefly, mate. I feel like I know you because it's like funny when you meet someone, but you've been talking through social media, seen their socials and stuff. But what brought you on your travels, mate? Like what made you what did you do before? When did it start?
Yeah, it's funny that this podcast is like the first time we're chatting, like no prep done whatsoever. But probably about 3 years ago, mate, and I was living in Marbella for a bit. I don't know what sort of, I think when I was younger and in uni and stuff, I lived at home, so I had a bit more money than most people who might have lived outside, and I chose to spend that money on trips away, weekends away, holidays with the lads. And I think one of the summer holidays we went to Thailand, so there was like 20 lads in Thailand, and it was a bit fucking chaos, but it was a great time. And from there I was like, you know, this is great, this side of the world, you know, it was really nice, and obviously cost of living really low. And then I'd seen a few different people living in Bali, going on holiday in Bali, so I always had it penciled in that I did want to visit here. But I used to work a corporate job, and during COVID we were able to work from home, which was great. And then after COVID they were wanting us back in the office, and at that point I'd always flirted with the idea of, you know, wanting to do something with training, because that's all I'd done. Like that was my hobbies. I was playing Gaelic, I was going to the gym. In my spare time I was, you know, learning about nutrition, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, probably very similar to you. But then obviously COVID hit, and I think that's when it sort of hit me that, you know, this life can be short, or like I might as well try and make this work. So I sort of started the coaching on the side, and then when the corporate role wanted me back in the office full time, I either had two options. It was either find another job where I could potentially work remote, because I knew that was something that I wanted to do because of the freedom and being able to travel, or try and make the coaching work. So that coincided with me also wanting to, you know, actually travel and get out of the UK for a bit. So I was living in Spain and Marbella for a bit, and I started the coaching. And at that time, again, it was from zero. So, but I had no other choice than to try and make it work. So lived there for like 6 months, mate, and popped back home a few times, and then I just got the bug for it, man. And I think the plan was initially to come here for a couple of months and then move to Australia. And then I came here and was like, why would I leave? But yeah, man, I've just obviously, once I experienced that sort of ability to sort of plan your own schedule and work remotely, I just wanted more of it, and then experiencing new places. And yeah, just getting out of Belfast, mate, it's when you do experience life outside of that, it was difficult for me to sort of go back there full time. Do you know what I mean?
There's definitely like a mindset that like I was saying this to Ailey the other day, like I feel very, I don't know, like over the last like 2 weeks, like it's very cliche, but it's like you find yourself in the sense that like you start to go, like, I was saying to Ailey, like before I came away, like I'm very sure of who I am, very dead certain in my what I value, what I don't value, what I do. But I was saying to Ailey, like I feel very carefree at the moment. I can't really explain it. I'm just in my own bubble, like selfishly just in my own little bubble, and it's great. Whereas like I was in my own bubble, focusing on my own priorities and things, but definitely when I was in the UK, and what I've really noticed, and it's anytime I go away, is that you just become a bit ignorant to some things. And it's like what I've definitely found is, it's, the saying goes, ignorance is bliss, isn't it? And I definitely feel that like a lot of the noise that was happening in my head since I've kind of uprooted my life and moved, still got all the same priorities, still priorities ready for anything what we do, but like from an actual like personal standpoint, I just feel like I've just got like so much focus, like just so much like so much less noise, like, and that's been a big thing for me coming away. I like, and even like coming here today, like every time I go out and like I was in the villa this morning, like obviously you see that feeling when you've been sick as well. It's like depressing because you've been in a building for like 24 hours. Like I was feeling that sort of doom and gloom way this morning, And I like got on the scooter this morning, drove out on the road, and I was just smiling.
Yeah.
It's like a good feeling, isn't it? Like you just, I kind of, there's something about going out on the road in the scooter, man. You're like,
it's a game changer. See, when I do go back home and you bounce into the car, it's nice sometimes sitting with the AC on or sitting with the heating on and listening to tunes, but nothing beats bouncing on the scooter and you're just driving about. But I find I do get them moments of like gratitude when you're just out driving and like, fucking hell, this is the life at the minute. But yeah, it's funny because like you take it for granted at times, and you know, I've been here close to 3 years and there is days where it can be a bit mundane and things like that, but them sort of moments, and then even just like speaking with the locals and sort of seeing how they live, it gives you that bit more of appreciation of like what we have and what we can do. But yeah, it's been good. But I've sort of been popping about different places. Like I wouldn't say like I don't spend all my time here. I've spent some time in Australia and Thailand, and you know, I do like to pop home from time to time, but that's becoming less and less frequent the more time I do spend out here. But I don't know what the plan is long term, mate, and we're all sort of set up. I feel like it's sort of not real life here as such, or it's like a fairy tale type of thing. But I think it's great for business, it's great for training, like the gyms and, you know, yourself, like the recovery facilities that you have and access to spas, massage, quality of food like on your doorstep. It's great for what I'm trying to do, which is trying to build a business and trying to move forward with training.
Yeah, it's perfectly set up for anyone that's just serious about progress in it. Like I think it's like me and you were talking about when we were on the phone this morning. It's like if you want to come and just go all in something, especially if you've got like a business or something, like you want to focus on that, like I think here's the place to like come and do it, like to go and just get focus. It's interesting, like see the amount of people that I've met just in the sauna that like they've just got like mad jobs and stuff. Like you're like, what do you do? I met a guy the other day and his name was Christian, and he was like Christian with a T, and I was just like, and he's like like cuts about the gym, he dances and all that, like, and I'm like, what do you do, mate? And he's like, I teach guys how to speak to girls. I was like, what? I was like, that's your job, man? That's mad. And then there's like folk that are like Bitcoin farmers and like a lot of crypto, isn't there?
Yeah,
like a lot
of crypto. It's funny, I was having a conversation with a girl a couple of weeks ago, and she made this great point that like the conversations that you have in the sauna around the world is like a big indicator. So like again, some of the conversations and some of the people you meet over here, like it's something, that's what I was saying there, like you think you're doing well, or you think you're dialed in, you think you're making good money, this and that, and then you speak to someone else and you're like, Jesus, I'm playing it small here. So
yeah, you need to be, I think that's probably one of the things I've really felt since being here is that like, I feel like a little fish in a big pond again. That's what I feel like, and it's probably been a big reason as to why I feel like I'm growing a lot right now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. Like people will be like, how is it living over there? Or how is it being able to sort of set up in Asia or Bali or whatever? And like, what's the best thing about it? And people will straight away think the weather, the sunsets, you know, the cheaper cost of living and everything else. But I think for me, it's the environment and the sort of people you meet, and because obviously, you know yourself, it has a massive impact on you and on your ability to progress business, on training, on your mindset around that. And that's what I found when I did go back when I went back home in July there, just past. Like my productivity was nowhere to be seen, and my energy was a lot lower. And obviously the weather does have an impact on that, but it's obviously the circle, the people you surround yourself with. And I suppose you can't find that if you're in the UK. Do you know, it obviously depends on who you surround yourself with, but I think that was a big one. It was the sort of environment where everywhere you look, or most people you surround yourself with or find yourself bumping into, they're trying to build something. Do you know what I mean? And like even here, there's the run clubs and there's a lot of people, you know, that we have a group there and some really high level runners, and I would put that down to, you know, I put my progress down to being around them a lot of the time. Yeah,
you need to, like, especially with training, man, like you need to be in spaces and rooms that like just elevate you. Like I remember like recently I went and met John and Niall, and they basically run this brand called Always Ready, and John's sub 60 men's pro men's pro solo, and I was like a 63 minute men's pro. I don't know, like 114. So like I went and trained with these guys, man, and like it just opened my eyes up to like the standards. Same when my coach John came over for the event that we ran last year, and we trained in the gym. And it's like you just need to be around someone's like sort of, you need to feel that. You need, like, I can't explain it. Like, see one of those runs you go out, right, and you maybe go out with some of the guys at the run club, and it's like this guy's a 240 marathon runner, and you're running with them at your easy pace, and your easy pace is like their like I'm not even getting
Yeah.
started here pace. And like, it's not until you don't feel it in like a negative way, but it's not until you actually see that even like when I was at the track with Niall and John that day, and we done like, it was like 1200 meters, like 800, 600, and like I'm a fast runner, like I can run fast, but like to see that the wheels were falling off me by those like 600s, and to see like, man, they look like they're just getting started, is like to actually be in that, and actually be in the sort of the hole and all that, and like that, I can't really explain it. It's the same with like, you talk to someone, like I was saying, like started working with someone that's helping my business, Darren, and it was like, for them to talk about something so candidly that you see as such a big limiting belief, like, is like so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, I'm here, and like I'm trying to get to this point, and then they're like, cool, we'll do it. Like, you just need to do this and this and this, and they say it so calmly, and you're like, that feeling. It's the same with like I would talking to a client sometimes, and like maybe they're being a bit of a fanny, and they're not doing what they said they were going to do. They're breaking that trust with themselves, and I'll just say, look, mate, I can see a level of potential in you that you cannot see. Like, you need to fucking buck up your ideas and double down harder right now. And like, that conversation itself can be the thing that, fuck, this person actually believes in me. And that's like for most people going past certain points, like they need to crush those sort of, you need to be around folks that are doing what you are doing and what you want. Like, you need to be in that, you need to be in those environments and spaces if you want to grow, elevate to that level. Because if you're the person at the top, it's very easy to then come down the way. It's very easy. It's like clients where they'll maybe be talking about like, I'm like the fittest out of my friend group. I'm like, stop priding yourself out of that. That's like, it's not a big achievement, man.
You're mates with 5 bumps.
Yeah, like it's not a big achievement, man. Like, stop priding yourself on being the fittest, or stop priding yourself on who you used to be. Stop priding yourself on these things that are dragging you down. Pride yourself on who you want to be. Pride yourself on what you want to do, man. Because it's aim up the way. Don't look backwards, man. Don't look in the rear view mirror when you're driving forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's that quote where, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Mm-hmm. And that's everything from business, training, and the rest. So, yeah, I think that's, like I said, one of the reasons my running has progressed a lot is because I'm running with these guys who, like, one of them ran 2:48 in his first marathon, and that's one of the reasons why I have set the goal recently to run a sub 3 in my first, because I see that it can be done, whereas probably a few months before that, or before I met him, or before, you know, being around them type of people, you would think that there's no chance, and you probably would have just aimed for 3:15 or 3:30, you know. So I think it's important to, again, if you can't find them people, or if your environment doesn't align with that, or the people in that, then like try and find them. Do you know? And I think that's been a big one, and try and find people who are better, stronger, faster, smarter than you. And it's a life hack really to try and progress, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So go back to that point that you said there about before, but doing a sub 3 hour marathon for like your first marathon, that's like insane. Like, I know we were talking about this before, it's mad. And to kind of touch base on that a bit, like, why do you, obviously you were mentioning there about environment and stuff, but like, where do you think, like, how much of an impact has your sporting background had on that? Because we were chatting about this before, because like, I think now when people set goals, like, it's important to be audacious, but sometimes people are just, they're not, like, we'll get the big one's a sub 25k in it.
Yeah.
And folk will say things like, oh man, I don't know if I can run a 10k, but I want to run a sub 20. And it's like, well, these things are wildly apart. Like, to be able to actually like run a sub 25k, you need to be confidently running. You need to be running like 43 minutes, 42 minutes. It's just numbers. But like, what would you say like is gave you the sort of ability to actually go from not really being a runner to actually just getting into running and being able to crank out a sub 3? I know you've not done it yet, but like to be at that point. We've done a 124, mate, so the proof's in the pudding. I know it's like, we spoke about it before, like, on the day there's so many variables that can,
exactly.
You get cramp, you could, and it's splitting hairs, man. Like, if you do your every mile at like 6:24 or 4:15, whatever the pace you're trying to hit, 6:50, sorry, or 4:15, if you have 2k where you go 10 seconds over, you've got a lot to make back up for. Do you know what I mean? So I know it's not as simple as just going, oh, I run this, so therefore I will be able to do this. It's what you do in the day.
I think that's one of the things that's made me buy into running so much, is because it's all down to you, but also there's so many other things that come into play. And like, the progress is so slow and so minuscule, and like, you need to show up every single day, which is probably one of the reasons why I have got hooked on it. But Man, like I was saying, like obviously coming from like a Gaelic background and then moving here, there is no Gaelic, but there's an Aussie rules team that we would play a bit, but it's not so competitive and it's not taken so seriously and you don't train as much. So I basically just joined one of the run clubs out here just for the social aspect of it, and it was just like 5k here, 5k there, just running for fun, meeting people, have a coffee after, and then linked up with a few of the boys out here who take it a bit more serious and who have ran marathons and things like that, and there's a few other run clubs that take it a bit more seriously and the sessions are a bit more structured. So I just started joining them just to start push myself, mate. And then I think there was like a 10k race and I was like, I might as well do it. So first 10k race absolutely blew up, sort of underestimated how difficult they are, you know, and it's not the same.
I would say 10k's up there with the hardest effort. It's like,
oh yeah, it
it's
was
an
painful.
awful distance. You're just sore the entire.
So that was went out too hard on that, but that was really like the first race that I ever booked, and then like around 5k I'd be strong, and sort of that's coming from playing Gaelic and sort of having the speed, but I'd never really dabbled in the sort of longer distance stuff, and I just thought it would be a good challenge, mate, and something to sort of work towards. Like, you know yourself, you're probably similar in that when moving from that sort of bodybuilding or physique development style of training to sort of more running, more performance, more high rocks, and it's again the bodybuilding or the physique development's good, but it does get boring, you know. And I think I was obviously doing that alongside Gaelic, and then there was no Gaelic, so just dived into the running, mate, but with setting the goal of running the sub 3. So I'd done a bit of goal setting and put this on Instagram in September, and I thought it was going to come back to bite me, and the first one was to run a sub 18 5k, and then the second one was to compete my first high rocks and try and go sub 115, and then the third one was the 125 half, which was in December there, and then the last one was the sub 3 in Tokyo. So I applied for Tokyo Marathon just out of fun, and obviously that's like one of the majors, and I think it's like a 1.8% chance that you get selected. Just apply for fun. Me and a few mates applied, and I got the email that I got in, so I was like, right, well, this is happening. And then obviously I set the goal to run that, but I just thought it was a challenge, mate, and like if I fall short on that by a bit, then fair enough, and I'll move forward with that. But I think, yeah, to some people that would be unrealistic, and for some people that would be, oh, he thinks he can run a sub 3 in his first marathon, like it's not going to happen, this and that. But I suppose that drives me on a bit more.
Yeah.
But I'll set the goal. I'll aim for it. If I fall short, I'm still going to achieve a good time, and it'll be a PB either way. But who knows what'll happen? Like you said, there's loads of variables that come into it on the day. And like, can you go to the toilet before? Do you need to go to the toilet during?
Toilet's the biggest one, man.
Yeah, I still haven't cracked the code, mate.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Like my digestion since I've been out here has changed, man. Like I don't do the toilet. I usually do the toilet. I get up. It's like fucking 3 hours later. I'm like, what's going on, man? Like, so it's the full thing with getting your toilet right, man. With running is awful. Like I've had so many bad experiences. I used to get anxiety because like, you would get up in the morning, like, see if you got a big run or a long run or whatever, and you're sitting like going, all right, this is hard as it is. And then all these other anxieties, like, what if I'm at this point and there's no fucking toilet? Like, what do I do? Like, it's not a nice thing, but I've never had to go outside and go to the toilet while I was training, man. Like, never had to do it once. Had to do it when I done the Keltman.
Right.
Yeah, I had to do it twice. Outside.
Some of the long runs out here, you might have to find yourself doing that because some routes the toilets are too and far between.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when I done the Keltman like last year. It was afterwards. Someone had done the toilet, but they'd done it like in an area that was like so populated with people, and someone took a picture of it.
Oh Jesus!
And put it up. Like, who was this? Why did you do it here, man?
Sometimes there's no other option in them scenarios. Like
cutting about like one of the Bali street dogs, man. There's a load of dogs next to us in the villa next to us. Like it's a Balinese person, and they just shit everywhere where our scooter is, man. Like
happened to me. I drive straight over it. Next thing it's on the wheels.
Oh no, man, it's awful. But there's a wee cat, man. It's quite sad. Like, did you see the cat on my stories? Nearly stories, and it's in the temple next to us, and we bring it into like not in the villa, but we actually have brought it into the kitchen area, and it's so sweet, man. And we've went out the last couple of days and it's not there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's either fucking dead or it's found another home somewhere, man.
It's just getting fed by someone else that lives close by for a bit. And then
it's so sweet though, man. It's like an actual little. It must be like 2 months old. There's only a shelter in Denpasar for cats. We contacted it, and then they didn't have any space.
Yeah, it's the same. All the dog shelters and stuff. It's
because they just stray dogs cutting about everywhere, but they seem to sort themselves out, man.
Yeah,
they're like quite friendly as well.
Work. They just be lying in the middle of the road. You'd be driving the scooter and they're just sleeping there. Chilling.
I know, they're funny, man. Have you seen any of them like get hit or in that, or the I've never mate since I've spent 4 months in Bali altogether, and I've not seen a dog like get injured. Like, and I've seen people come off scooters. Have you seen anyone come off a scooter?
Yeah, a couple.
I've seen two. I seen a guy recently, and it was quite bad. He like flipped the scooter, man, and he like went. He wasn't wearing a helmet either.
You always see them on Instagram and Facebook, and like these like Just Giving fundraisers being set up, and the picture of like whoever was in the accident, like lying in hospital, and it's like he was in an accident, and I'm just like freaks you out a bit. But I've seen a couple.
You've seen all the folk cutting about with bandages and stuff.
Yeah, all the time. But it's people just like obviously the laws is like you can rent a motorbike without a license. So I remember the first time.
Is that the actual law?
Well, not really, but like unofficially, like that you don't need a license. And if any policeman asks you for a license in different parts of Bali or certain areas, it's just for them to be able to make money off the fine. But nothing will come of that. But it's pretty widely accepted that you can rent a scooter if you're here on holiday or if you're living here, and there's nothing really said about it. And it takes a couple of journeys. Like I remember when I rented one in Thailand, that like on that lad's holiday that I was talking about, and giving your passport, cheap $5 to rent it for the day, and I think within 5 minutes of driving it was sideways, and you go back to them and say, okay, give me your money. So it's a money making scheme for them too, but it's it can be dangerous, mate, and
you need to be really careful on it now, man. I got last time I was here, I was getting like too confident on it, man.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do, man. Like it's but you need to just keep your wits about you, because it's not even like, it's the fact that folk are just overtaking folk. Like,
yeah, it couldn't, like, not your fault.
It's
like,
not
you're
your
driving
fault.
safe, but someone else's.
Yeah,
fucking...
or like it's even dodgy, man. Like walking down Preran, and we were walking down there, and a car nearly hit Ailey the other day, and I actually pulled it in.
Yeah.
Like it actually was, and a guy was walking down the other way and seen it, and the guy went, like, because it was about to happen, and I just pulled it, and the car just kept driving. So like it's quite lawless, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
It's like the Wild West a bit, isn't it?
But obviously, mate, from your background, like we touched on it there about, I'm not sure if you competed in bodybuilding, but I know you were sort of driving that sort of like physique development, and you've got yourself into like quality shape before, and obviously still are. But what sort of drove you to dip your feet into high rocks first of all, and then going into more of the sort of performance side of things? And yeah, like what made you sort of dive into that?
So I've always kind of been into it. Like I was like, I actually was writing a bit up yesterday. I was doing like a little video, and I was basically talking about like my sort of story. Like probably over like the sort of last 5 years, I've kind of went all in on like sort of like a hybrid style training. Like that's when I like signed up for my first Ironman. Then I was like, right, I'm going to really commit to this. That's when I like started getting really faster. Like, but prior to that, I'd done it, but I didn't really label it as anything. Like I had like kind of like done it. Like I was in the military before. Like I'd always ran. Like I wasn't particularly fucking fast or in that, but like, I didn't. Mate, my running was like I would go out. I'd literally have a watch on, and I'd just set a timer. Like I got my first Garmin in 2018, and that's when I started being like, right, oh, this is like, can measure these here a bit more. Then I was like, but I'd never like, and I'd done my first event and stuff. Then I started doing a bit of obstacle course racing around that time. So, but again, it was like, it wasn't amazing around like that at all. I was doing all right, and then I'd probably say like 2020s when I went really all in on it. Like I'm going to make this like a total lifestyle, because I'd always get to the point where like I would look really fit, but I wouldn't be as fit. And then I would look really out of shape, but I'd be fitter. So I could never get the sort of contrast of like, how do you do both? Like, how do you, because like when one would go, the other would go. So I definitely kind of took it a lot more serious. Lockdown was a good time for me, because I remember the biggest thing that changed the game for me, mate, and I always remember this, was I went from working in the gym, and I was really busy in the gym, and I was working at like 6 a.m. sessions, finishing late. My sleep was shocking, man. I was sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a night and stuff, like going to the gym exhausted. And I remember just being like, right, I'm going to really level things up here. And I just started setting no alarm in the morning and going to bed at a reasonable time. And I was getting like 8-9 hours sleep a night, and I was so grateful for it. Then on top of that, I was training like a fucking Trojan. And I just started to be like, whoa, like I'm like, if you actually look after all these areas, everything gets better. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was a coach at the time, like, so then I kind of went on that quest of doing my first Ironman, and then I done that, and it was like, it was probably the worst time to do an Ironman. I signed up for it in 2020, and then like I signed up for Mallorca in the May. Couldn't even swim, like couldn't swim at all. So I was literally 0 to hero. Signed up with this coach, but the guy didn't really coach you on any like nutrition or anything like that at all. It was just like, yeah, eat more. Like it was very basic, and like looking back, mate, I wasn't ready to go into that kind of distance and volume. Like it broke me, man. Like it was like, because I wasn't feeling properly, didn't know how to feel properly for it. And I was just like, I got really skinny towards the end. The event got dragged out as well because Mallorca got cancelled because of the lockdown happened again. So then I got pushed back. So the prep, I'd peaked in it. I started picking up injuries. I was starting to be reckless in other areas, not caring as much about my nutrition. Like, it was like a total, like, that sort of like 8-month, 10-month period, whatever it was, of doing that, like, taught me so much. And then after that, I then started working with Joe. And I signed up with Joe as a coach. And then that's when I really started being like, I want to fucking get this and like nail it to the point where like, there's no like what, like I don't fall to pieces. And then that's when I really started figuring it out a lot more, probably like 2022, like being like, and since probably that point, I feel that everything's just been constant. Like every year, there's not been a point in a year where my physique's fell to pieces. There's not been a point in a year where my fitness has fell to pieces. Like, it's interesting, even if I look at your Strava score, right? It's just been upwards. Whereas before it would always be up, down, up, down. Whereas now it's actually just like that. It goes, and I know that's not 100% accurate, but I've found this way to actually just push performance, push progress, periodize and methodically actually train effectively without getting to the point where like you want to like, because I would do things, I done that Ironman then like never touched a bike or swimming for a year. Like I don't want to be at that point where I'm like doing something all or nothing. Like folk do runs, they sign up for a marathon, they don't run for like 6 months after it. It's like, you've done it wrong if you're doing that. And I know that because I done that. Like, and that's inside the RFA, that's what like our model is like we have like 3 phases. I've actually just changed it recently: infancy, growth, maturity. And like maturity is that point where like you're always in it, like what I'm talking about right now, because infancy is the point where like you're all in, then you're all out. And that's what loads of folk are in for a long period of time. And then growth is when you're on like the level up, but then folk go back into infancy because they think they've cracked it, like I done. So like they do the event, they do the thing. So that maturity is that point where like you've just embodied it as a lifestyle. It's a 365 thing, and you're pushing that progress like with body, physique, performance the whole way through. So it's funny because I never like competed at bodybuilding or anything, but like I definitely went down that route for a while where like when I started out coaching, like I stopped doing all the things that got me to the dance in the first place. Like I stopped running, and I started just training in the gym, like I push pull legs, getting steps in, and I was like, I'm doing 3 spins a week, that's my cardio. And it was like I started to just be like, I don't really like the way I'm training right now. So like I had not a very good attempt at doing it, but it was like definitely something I valued. But then I went to this point where I kind of lost myself in it, and then I went back to going all in. So it's been the last 10 years, man. I've just been like a total evolution of like figuring it out as I go through it, man. But definitely the last 5 years have been like every year, like, and now I've kind of entered this new phase where it's like peak performance. Do you know what I mean? Like how, and it takes a while to get to there, like, because you need to have the discipline, you need to have the training quality, you need to have the awareness. It needs to be something that you do all the time. Because I thought I was chasing peak performance, but I was just taking on challenges. Do you know what I mean? Which is good, like, but now I'm like, no, I want to do these and do them really well. Like I want to do these things, and that's why like high rocks and these races like attract me so much, because they're so measurable. Yeah, they're so measurable. They're so like they're the same. Like a half marathon's a half marathon. A high rocks is a high rocks. Like it is what it is. Like it's just there's just these like constant variables, and you can then just be like crank. Like this is what I need to do. Like that's why they attract me so much, to be honest.
I think it takes going on them journeys, like, you know, chasing the physique that's completely shredded. And, you know, back in the day it was for a holiday, or it was to look a certain way for a progress photo. And, you know, you think that, yeah, when I get in this shape, you know, I'll be happy, when in reality it doesn't work like that. So it's like, okay, you need to start having other things in place or other goals to work towards. And, you know, that combination of, we still want to obviously look good, progress the physique, you know, maintain a decent condition all year round, but push ourselves and see what our bodies can do. But it's funny you touched on the nutrition side of things, and when you first get into the sort of the Ironman and that sort of style of training, that the nutrition was largely not accounted for. And
loads of folk do that.
I feel like it's widespread, and even some, like, I watch some like high rocks competitors, not so much high rocks, but like some elite level runners and people that are pushing serious times, and even just general folk that are playing like Gaelic soccer or field sport athletes. they'll train every day, they'll train very meticulously, they'll spend hours in the gym, but their nutrition is just like guesswork. Yeah, I'll try and get a bit of protein in, I'll try and, you know, get enough calories in, but realistically a lot of it's guesswork. And I feel like that's something that has helped me with transitioning to more of the running stuff, is that coming from that side where the nutrition had to be fully dialed in, and the numbers game, and sort of knowing how to fuel and what recovery means, it's like it makes a massive difference, where it's some people don't place an emphasis on it at all, which is so surprising.
It's mad 'cause it's nutrition. Like my old coach Dan Reeve, who was he's the head of athletic performance in Joe's program. So he was on the podcast a couple of months ago, and he said something, and he was like, mate, nutrition is just like such a complex thing. He was like, it's like people, something I've been talking about recently, it's like people overcomplicate the simple stuff in nutrition. So like 7 days of doing something rather than doing it for 5 and thinking it's 7. Do you know what I mean? Well, that's the stuff that folk overcomplicate, just being consistent. But the bit that folk try to oversimplify the complex stuff, so they don't acknowledge the relationship with food. They don't acknowledge that they've got learned behaviours from a family, parents and friends that have been deeply ingrained, and they're not even acknowledging that. I just need a meal plan. It's like, yeah, the meal plan will help, but like you need to understand that like I look at it as like a pyramid, right? So it's like the base of the pyramid is the most important part, is the relationship with food. Well, that's the most important part of anyone's, like, and that's the part that's the hardest part for any coach to help someone get on top of, is to build a better relationship with food. That's the goal for everyone, isn't it? Then you've got health, then you've got performance fueling, then you've got body composition. Everyone looks at that the wrong way around, and they look at it like body composition, calories, macros. Now, it's important 100%, and it's not to say that like that pyramid means that like you shouldn't focus on it. You should focus on all of them, but the foundation is the relationship that you have with yourself and the relationship that you have with food, the language in which you use, the way that you say things, like acknowledging or not acknowledging sabotaging behaviors. Like you need to be, that's something that you need to be so on top of all the time. And it's like a relationship with a person, like a friendship, or me and Ailey, like it has to be worked on all the time. Like it can't be something it's, oh, we're together now, that's that sorted. Like you need to be doing things to keeping things fucking spicy, to keep things
the pizza on the Saturday night.
Yeah, like it's that you need to be working on it. You need to be going, are we good right now? Are we doing that? It's the same with food. You need to be like going, right, where's things at with my food right now? Like, what am I doing? What am I tolerating? What am I accepting? What am I not accepting? What am I letting slide right now? What am I maybe doing that's actually not helping me whatsoever? And it's like, the average person, would you say, probably has 3 to 5 instances in a day where they put something in their mouth? 3 to 5 instances a day for their entire life. That's something that you need to be on point with all the time, and you need to be thinking about your environments, your behaviors. The big one with nutrition as well, man, is that like people are creating the perfect storm for what, like, so it's like someone might have binge eating tendencies, they might have a poor relationship with food, they might have learned behaviors from parents, right? And it's like, they're like, oh, I've got this, and this is my problem, and this is that. And it's like, mate, stop filling your cupboard with shit. It's like you're literally enhancing that. Like you're enabling, like, oh, like my problem's food. And it's like, what's your food shop like? And you look at the food shop, it's like, why have you bought a 24 pack of crisps? Oh, I like crisps. It's like, yeah, I like crisps too, but do you need that? Do you know you're going to eat them? You know you're probably going to binge on them. You know you're going to fuck yourself with them. Like let's tackle that first. Like it's, and folk are like, oh, but I like crisps. And you're like, I'm not saying don't eat crisps, but like stop doing things and putting yourself in spaces. It's the same way, like you might have a group of friends that are like a bunch of enablers. Like stop going to theirs on a Friday night to get fucking munchies in and watch a movie. It's nice to do that, right? But are you actually doing something that's constructive for each other? Are you enabling each other to do something that's actually a bit of a sabotaging behaviour?
I think some people can get away with that if they have really good discipline, and that can be tested at any time. But it comes back to that point where, you know, just simply removing the shit food from your environment, and when you're doing the food shop, you know, not buying the multi-packs and sort of limiting that to if you are going out, or if you're walking past the ice cream parlour, or you're out on a Friday or Saturday night on a date or with a woman, you can allow yourself that bit then. Or if you are going for a meal out, but like you said, if you filled your cupboards full of shit, and say to yourself, I'll just have one. But realistically, when the dopamine kicks in after you have that one bit of chocolate or one ice cream, it's like it's it's making it a lot less likely that you can put them away and not go for it again. So it's that just controlling your environment. It'll make things a lot easier if you are someone that are trying to keep a lid on things.
I would say, I've been talking about this a lot recently. See, when you go all in your journey and you really commit to being better, like going all in, I'm not just talking about dipping your toe in the water, just following a plan. I'm talking about like really embarking on a journey, depending on like where you're at, where your abilities are at, where your behaviours are at. It takes like 3 years for it to be at the point where you're totally in the driver's seat. Like for most people, it takes like three years going through the seasons, all the different seasons, going on your first holiday, going through the festive period. It takes years to get to the point where you can confidently go through things unscathed. Like it takes a long time, and I don't think enough people appreciate that. Like I don't know if you got this, but like even coming back for the holidays there, like I felt like I was just picking up so many pieces for clients, man, because they were like, oh man, like not everyone, but like folk were like, oh, this happened, and I went back to old ways, and I done this, and I'm like, perfect storm. Like I was talking about, it's like Christmas is the perfect storm for most folk to lose their way. And the thing I reminded a lot of people about that had their priorities in order, I'm like, mate, you've only been doing this for like 6 months. Like, I'm not. Don't be down about it. Like
compared to the 29 rest.
Yeah, like years
of your life.
You've done this for a long period of time. Like, it's going to take a while to like get to the point where you're like fully in control. And like even myself, mate, like food for me is like it's still a clutch, mate. Like I was shown a lot of love through food being a wee boy. I was encouraged to like fucking eat, mate. Like I didn't realize I had a lot of like not binge eating tendencies, but like greed, like gluttony and greed that was like programmed into me. But I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought that was just normal. So for me, like food's something I've had to like really, really work on. And I even shared recently when I done High Rocks Madrid, and I felt out of shape, mate. Like I was fit as hell, man. But like around that time, I'd done 3 events. I'd done 3 events, 3 weekends in a row. So I'd like peaked. So then volume came right. Even if you go and look at my Strava, like my volume came right down. But around that time, what that actually really done, mate, is it tested my relationship with food. I actually found like I was being more greedy, and I was eating more, and I was justifying more things. And by the time I was on the 3rd event in Madrid, I was like, I don't look good now, man. Like it's not something that ever ends. Like you have to, and for me actually doing that, what that's actually done has been a catalyst for now actually being at the point where like I can hand on heart say for the last sort of like 7 weeks, I've been in the best shape I've ever been in. Yeah. I've just, because I went, nah man, like I'm not fucking accepting that anymore. So it takes a long time to do this stuff. Like,
yeah, like you're saying, it is up and down, and I was the exact same when I ran the Bali half marathon in August. So I've been in serious condition, like maintaining a relatively lean physique most of the year, and then I went back to, actually first of all I brought my mum out here, so we were sort of on holiday for a bit, and I was showing her about Bali, and we were eating in nice restaurants, and with that came maybe training being a bit lackadaisical, activity being a bit lower, but a lot of food, and again we were enjoying some nice dinners, plenty of desserts, and then I went home in July, and that was largely the same, because obviously after having been away for so long, I was wanting to eat all the foods that I haven't got access to out here. My mum was cooking all my favourite dinners, and I was also injured at that time, so activity was low. So when it came to the Bali half in August, when I did come back to Bali, I think I was like 2.5, 3 kg heavier, and I felt that, and it makes a massive difference with the running, and I think that was one of the key things that helped me run that 1:24 in December there in the half. Was I was a lot leaner, and I was carrying less weight. But that can go either one or two ways. It can go, maybe you're under fueling, and again in the sort of lead up to that, a calorie deficit isn't so beneficial, for if you're trying to push performance. So but thankfully I was able to sort of manage that and found the balance, and I think it was a game changer for me. So that's what I need to keep a lid on when I'm going to.
You have to look at it through the lens of like, I feel like I'm in a constant recomp. That's the way I look at it. Is like, because like I know it is a calorie deficit. I'm not trying to like just fucking in versus out, right? But like when folk are always like, I just need to drop a bit more weight. I'm like, right, man, like your volume's higher than ever right now. We need to I know the mindset. I get what you mean, and I know you've got fat to lose, but just stick to what you're meant to be doing. And I'm telling you, see the change you want to see, because folk are like logically, like you're not wrong going like, right, just need to drop on 4 or 5 kg, and it's like, man, like your volume's the highest it's ever been right now. Like you need to look at why you're in the position you're in right now and stop doing those things. So if you stop doing those things, you achieve the thing you want to achieve, not go into the full let's get down. Like it's
Yeah.
it's the same thing, but how you go about it's done totally differently. And that's the shift. I just kind of drew a line in the sand after that and used kind of like turning into like a sort of nomad is like an opportunity to be like, I'm kind of doing the way I go about things with my nutrition, training, everything. And it's been a game changer for me, man. I've just kind of let go of certain behaviors. Like I've just not been buying the stuff for the villa and like having the things in place that you just unnecessarily eat, because I heard this a long time ago that you only borrow your physique. You only borrow it.
Yeah.
You only borrow your fitness. It's all borrowed. So like you're only good as your most recent actions and behaviors. And even the last 24 hours, man, I had big plans yesterday to fucking do things and then got sick. And it's funny, like Ailey was like that to me. I was like, I feel so unproductive. She's like, you recorded 5 onboarding videos and literally like that. Like I was like, I know, but I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. And even today, waking up, seeing Ailey going for a run when I was like, I'm not ready to train yet. And I was just sitting going, oh, like, and it's so easy, like. And I was just thinking about it this morning with like a client that's maybe not as experienced as me, and I'm like, God, it's so easy to trip up. It's so easy. Like you have to have so much discipline all the time, don't you? Like to go, carry on, don't get caught up. Like I had a statement recently, is the world belongs to those who can keep doing without the result of their doing.
It's that delayed gratification, isn't it?
Yeah. You just keep like even when it's not there, you act like it's there.
Yeah.
You just always have to act like it's there, and it's like remind you. Even like I was going, oh fuck, like it's Wednesday and I've not ran this week. Last week I done 100k, and oh my god, like my volume's gonna be down. I'm gonna do like 50k this week, and I was just like, hit the brakes, mate. Like, just carry on as you left off. Don't try and do anything differently. And I think that's a lot of folk trying to drop different tactics. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, go and do different. It's, no, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Stop changing everything. Like
it's just back to normality, especially after the Christmas break. Like that's been the main message to clients. It's like, let's just pick up where we left off, and there doesn't need to be any crazy diets or like super high amounts of cardio. It's like, just get back to normality. Like there's no, again, rush. We'll just get back into things. And that's one thing you touched on there, was like the sort of calorie deficit and just being in that sort of constant phase of like a recomp. And I think people underestimate the power of like a sort of high protein diet being in around maintenance with training intensity being high too, and sort of putting a massive emphasis on, you know, progressively overloading in the gym. Like I think a lot of people can benefit from that and can make strides with their body composition, in that people think you need to be cutting or you need to be bulking. But I think for a lot of people, especially people who've took some time off for training, or people who are sort of new to the gym, or even new to that sort of structured style of training and structured style of like high quality nutrition, I think they can make a lot of progress. Like they can build muscle, they can get stronger, they can also lose body fat in the process. Yes, it might take slightly longer, but for a lot of people that is the play, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, I've not ever over the last like 5 years, see from like that Ironman, I've not once been in like a big surplus, and I've like probably gained like fucking 8 pounds of muscle. Like folk don't, if you're just training with good like if I was in a surplus I might have gained a little bit more, but like that's not my main objective. Like I want to get bigger, I want to get stronger, I want to keep building my body, it will keep evolving, but like just being consistent. Just like be consistent. Like people overcomplicate this, man, this shit, and you're just like, just do what you're meant to be doing. Like how funny is it when you get someone that's like maybe broken a bit of trust for themselves and lost their way, and then you're like, they've maybe been working with you for like 2 months or whatever, and the last month's been a bit fucking haywire, and they're looking at you like, right, cool, you've given this big breakthrough, what do I need to do? You're like, you need to do what you're meant to be doing. Go and do what you're meant to be doing. I had a conversation with someone yesterday that last month's tested them a bit, and they were like, send us a message, and I've told them not to run. They've came back from a bad injury, and I basically said to them, then they've just texted us, and Ailey was taking all sort of like comms yesterday because I was obviously not well. And they're like, right, I've just back for a 3k run, I'm going to do this next week. And I just messaged them, like, so I went, look, man, when you're bringing me back for the dead here. I was like, over the last 14 weeks, you've hit 4 weeks of consistent workouts. We've told you not to run, we're going to take care of that. We don't have a clue where you're at for your body composition over the last 6 weeks because you've just been a bit all over the place. Why are you now telling me that you're just randomly running? Like, what are you doing? Like, I think it's so amazing that like when you have support and guidance, someone is actually telling you exactly what to do. Just do it. Like, just do it. And that's what I said to him. I went, mate, put the fucking brakes on here. We've got a call tomorrow. We're going to chat this through. We're going to talk it all over. But what are you doing, man?
Some people are just looking for that magic bullet, and like he's probably under the illusion that
I need to run.
doing more cardio, doing running, like I'll get them a goal quicker. When in reality, if they were to just stick to what's put in front of them with their training, with their nutrition, and just done the basics and done that consistently for long enough to see the results. But I think that's linked to like a reason a lot of people don't make progress or don't get from A to B. It's not their training, their nutrition, it's their mindset around, you know, certainly like how long it'll take to achieve them goals. But I think you touched on it earlier, it's that delayed gratification, and a lot of people don't have that, and it's like that's obviously a big part of what we try and do, and I'm sure you're the same, is like trying to coach them on that. You know, as much as we coach training and nutrition, it's like their mindset around getting from A to B and what it takes to do that.
Yeah, it's mad. I think people just don't really. Lewis said it in the podcast recently. Like, mindset means beliefs locked. That's what mindset actually means. Like, mindset, like whatever your outlook is. And a lot of people are like, yeah, mindset. They just don't get it. They don't understand it. It's like the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. Like, in most people's, if you were to imagine you had like green balls and red balls to represent those, you had 60,000 of them to represent those thoughts. Red balls represent negative, poor self-talk, doubt, limiting beliefs, and green balls represent like positive affirmations, gratitude, like great intentions. Most people's are majority red.
Yeah.
You're never going to get rid of the red, but people just do not understand that like the reason why they can't get from that 0 to 1 or build the initial consistency that they think they have is because they need to, like you say this to people sometimes, you need to work on your mindset. So they then think sometimes, oh, so I don't need to work on this stuff right now, I need to go and work on this. And it's like, no. Like, you need to keep doing what you're meant to be doing, but you need to appreciate and value the fact that the reason why you're not where you want to be is because you just have a lot of limiting beliefs, limiting behaviors and things that like you're not really recognizing, you're not acknowledging like that as problems. You just think that's the way things are, because it's a hard thing to recognize when it's all you've ever known. Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people like the idea of achieving a certain goal, getting in shape, running a fast 10k or 5k, but when it comes down to it, when they're finishing a day's work, or when it's cold, dark and wet outside, or when there's the chances of a takeaway being ordered, it doesn't really matter as much for them to make the decision to say no to the takeaway, or to get out and get the walk in, or to get to the gym. Because like if you ask most lads in their 20s and 30s, do you want to lose body fat? Do you want to get fitter? Do you want to build some muscle? They'll say yes, but like why? Do you know? And I think people need to be obviously working towards something, but also running away from something else, or sort of not wanting to be in a place. And if that is coming from a place of like insecurity, not happy with how they look, or they're not getting the start on their football team, or again they're not able to string together a 5k without falling apart, I think that combination of yes, have goals, but you also need to have a reason, you know, behind that. But yeah, most people, I think they not having a strong enough why is the reason why.
It's because you need to have something. If you look at the people that do best, it's no different for any coach. It's that their priorities are in order. They know what's important, and it's like they don't let perfect get in the way of good. They're the ones that flap the most. They're the ones that worry the most. They're the ones that ask the most questions. Do you know what I mean? Like, the quality of your life comes down to the quality of questions you ask. Like, if someone's going through a journey and there's like no cadence in communication, they're going to get bang average results. Like, see if that person is like, you get the occasional person that's like a ghost, and they just need to be given like a few bits and bobs, man. That's like, and they just like, they're like
operating.
They're like unicorns, aren't they? Like, I think it's funny, man, when you get them and it's like someone that's like, they don't really ask much questions or that, and then like
one or two
then they just send you their pictures, man. They're like, you're like, whoa,
you are dialed in.
Yeah, so you do get that, but like the more questions you ask, like curiosity is the thing that's going to get you progress. I actually re-recorded all of our onboarding, and one of the things that I actually said at the beginning is like, this relationship relies on communication.
Yep.
Like, if you are not asking the right questions, putting your hand up, like, and I was giving examples of it in the sense that like, should I be here? Is it normal to feel this way right now? Like, what's your view on this? I need to change this right now. Why is it this is laid out like this? If I change this, what kind of impact is that going to have? Like, see, when you get someone that you're working with and then they're like, 2 weeks in a row, you're like, why you not hit your workouts? And then it's like, oh, so
don't have this piece of equipment.
Oh, I had this, or then they just, no, but then they say things like, oh yeah, man, like, so I had this shift that day, so I just moved it to Saturday, and it's like, well, let's put the brakes on, man.
Oh.
That's I did not expect that thunder there, man. Let's put the brakes on right now. Like, why why did you move that about? Oh, well, I had this on. Like, you need to discuss that and understand why. And that's the part that so many folk don't see value in, because they just look at it as things. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And it's like, but that's not good enough, man. Like, the people that follow, they get the best progress are the ones that just do what they said they were going to do.
And that, like, ask the most questions.
Ask the most questions.
Sometimes, like the people that are torturing you and wanting reassurance on X, Y, and Z, like, they get more clarity from that and they know exactly what to do. And then obviously, that's why you hire me, is so that you get my expert advice on what is the best case scenario for this. But I think it can, like you said, it's the ones that are quietly operating in the background. It can either be a complete shit show, or they could be getting the same results and they're just ticking the boxes that need ticked. And I would like more of them.
Yeah, so. I know, man. It wouldn't be as fun if you'd be like that.
You'd have nothing to do.
I know, 100 clients like that, man. You'd be like that. But what's going on? But I think that's probably a good way to round things off, mate. But awesome episode, mate. And,
it was a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, it was good, man.
It's good yarn. It's funny because we didn't speak before this. Like, we were supposed to meet up.
We were talking, having this coffee before, and I was like, "Fuck, we need to stop talking about some of these things."
Save this for the pod.
Yeah, save this for the podcast. But yeah, man. I hope you enjoyed the episode, guys, and catch you in a wee bit.